Hola, this class is about indirect object pronouns. Before we start with indirect object pronouns, let's review direct object pronouns, okay? Remember, in order to find a direct object, you are going to ask the questions what or who, okay? Then you can find it. For instance, Sam built a castle. Sam would be the subject, built would be the verb, and Sam built what? A castle. A castle would be the direct object, okay? And you could substitute a castle for it using a direct object pronoun. Sam built it, okay? If you keep talking about the same thing, people know you're talking about a castle. You don't need to repeat the word castle over and over, so you use the pronoun, the direct object pronoun. David loves me. David loves whom? Me. Me would be the direct object. Okay, in this case, direct object pronoun. Okay, now let's see indirect object. I bought that skirt for her. I gave those shoes to him. Now, I want you to pause this video and tell me what is the subject, what is the verb, the direct object that we just reviewed, and the indirect object. Maybe you know the answer. Okay, now let's do it together. I would be the subject, bought would be the verb, that skirt would be the direct object. So I bought that skirt for her. For her would be the indirect object. Okay? I gave those shoes to him. I would be the subject, gave would be the verb, those shoes would be the direct object, and to him would be the indirect object. So I hope you have seen the pattern. The indirect object pronouns tell to or for whom the action is being done. So when someone or something gets the direct object, that word is the indirect object. For example, if I expand that sentence, Sam built a castle on the beach, I could say Sam built his daughter a castle on the beach. Somebody, in this case his daughter, is the one receiving the direct object. So it's the recipient, okay? Now, to avoid confusion and to help you identify the indirect object, I always ask you to, in your mind, to place for or to. So I can say, Sam built a castle on the beach for or to his daughter. That helps you. So his daughter would be the indirect object. Now let's see the indirect object pronouns. Remember, to avoid repetition, we use pronouns. So to or for me, to or for you, to or for him or her or you, to or for us, to or for them. Don't forget to add that to or for in your mind. That is very helpful. Let's see in Spanish. Me, te, le, nos, y les. I hope you can recognize those pronouns because we use them with the verb gustar. Remember, in Spanish 1, we learned the verb gustar. Yes, you are dealing since then with indirect object pronouns, although you did not know the name of those pronouns. So, me, te, le, nos, les. Now let's see the placement of indirect object pronouns. Indirect object pronouns, me, te, le, nos, y les, os we are not going to use, is for vosotros, are placed before a conjugated verb. So whenever you have a conjugated verb, you need to place it before it, which is very different from English again. In English, you place it after the verb. In Spanish, you place it before the conjugated verb. Let's see some examples. Le compraste el libro a Elena. Did you buy the book to Elena? It's like, did you buy her the book? In this case, the her, did you buy her, would go before the conjugated verb. Another thing that is very different in Spanish is that although I have my indirect object pronoun here, I also state who is receiving the book. I, Elena. So I know it looks kind of redundant because you have the indirect object and also the name of the person. But remember, when I say le, it could be to her, to him, okay, to you formal. So to avoid confusion in Spanish, we generally place it, okay? Who is receiving it. Nos vio hace 5 días, a nosotros. He saw us, okay? He saw us 5 days ago. And although I have nos here, I can also place a nosotros at the end. No problem at all. In Spanish, that is very, very common and correct. Let's see some more examples. A él le gustan los libros. Remember the verb gustar? So remember when we saw that gustar actually means something is pleasing to somebody. Okay, so here you're asking, are books pleasing to him? Yes, they interest him a lot. Okay, sí, le interesan mucho. Now, sometimes you have the option of placing the indirect object pronoun before a conjugated verb or attached to a verb in the infinitive. But remember, that can only happen if you have 2 verbs in a sentence. Okay? For example, le vas a dar el libro a Elena. So here you have 2 verbs. Are you going to give Elena the book? So going, here is a verb conjugated. To give, this is the verb in infinitive. So I chose to put le here before the conjugated verb. Okay? So I say, sí, le voy a dar el libro a Elena. Or I can say, sí, voy a darle. So here I decided to attach the indirect object to the verb in the infinitive, forming one word, el libro a Elena. But again, I would ask you to use it before the conjugated verb so you don't get confused and you keep just one rule in your mind, like before the conjugated verb. Okay? But both are correct. Well, I hope that was helpful. Make sure you review this video if necessary. Adios!